Greenbacks, blue paper, every day I get it like the newspaper. You know it's your boy Cohiba season, and we only listening to Wall Street Dame.
What's good, everybody? It's your boy Wall Street Dame. Listen, I usually don't get on here and get too serious. I try not to serious everybody else out. You know, I understand like my type of podcasting is generally me talking about good, fun topics, cracking some jokes. Sometimes I may get serious, sometimes I may not. But for the most part, I try not to be too serious. But there calls for times where I just have to give a commentary on some shit that's going on that's very serious in our community. And I can't really just let it slide. You know, I feel as a podcaster, everybody's got their own lane. You know, some people are here for being real serious. Some people want to do straight up interviews. Other people, like myself, just want to talk about topics and entertain and put a smile on your face. But I also feel like as podcasters, we are entertainers, but we're also at some points journalists, right? Especially depending on what kind of podcast you're reporting on. You know, people are tuning in to hear what you have to say about what's going on in life, what you have to say what's going on about a special topic that they're interested in, and what you have to say about what's going on today in the news. Now, while I try to not speak on certain topics such as religion, personal preference, there's certain topics I just have to touch on, and one in particular that's bothering me is this this whole incident with the individual by the name of Tyre Nichols. Rest in peace to Tyre Nichols. It's an unfortunate story. I mean, I heard about the story. I kind of came on late to it, to be honest with you. But I want to give a condolences to Tyre's family. If you're not aware of the story, Tyre Nichols, on I believe the date of January 7th, was pulled over driving in his neighborhood. I don't know if he was on his way to his mother's house or what it may be, but he's pulled over about a block away or 3 houses down from his mother. I believe he was actually driving away from the police because probably he was a little in fear of his life. Who knows? Not sure what the state of mind was, but what we do know is that the police did catch up with him. And what turned out to be a brutal assault that ended up becoming him losing his life, which he ended up passing 3 days later on January 10th. So once again, I want to say rest in peace to Tyre Nichols. Condolences to his family. But if you haven't seen the video yet, which I had the opportunity to see it today, and quite frankly, I wish I could have unseen it. It was disturbing. It was disappointing. And it was discouraging. I mean, the video shows 5 police officers, mainly started off with 4. And then a 5th one came in and, you know, contributed to what happened. But just to give you a layout, if you haven't seen the video, you know, he was pulled over. He was then detained, or not necessarily legally detained, but he was held by the police officers, pinned to the floor. They all struck him with several blows. Some of the blows were by fist, others were by baton. He even gotten pepper sprayed or maced. I'm not sure what kind of spray they have in there, but either way, they sprayed him. He was punched. At one point in the video, they held him up, and they punched him while being held up. They dropped him to the floor, kicked him repeatedly all over his body, took out a baton, aimed him up, and hit him. And initially, the video starts out with 4 different officers. And then, once again, there was a 5th officer. It looks like another, during the video, they have different views. They have a body cam, and then they have a sky cam. So I was able to watch 2 different types of videos. The body cam one had more audio, which I'll get to. But the sky cam which was a camera that was like on a telephone pole or so. That didn't have any audio. You just could see what was happening. And it was from a distance at that sky cam was reminiscent of Rodney King, to be honest with you. I was a young kid at that time. I remember I just came from Jamaica. And in Jamaica, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying there's not any civil unrest and there isn't any racism, but, you know, at that age, I didn't see any, right? So when I came here to America, I remember seeing Rodney King, and I was like, okay, as a young child, I was like, oh, shit, that's what's happening? You know, and it instills a fear in terms of police officers. You know, I can't say I identify with being black and, you know, being worried about police officers at that age. But I also knew, I saw that video and I was like, I ain't fucking with no cops because that shit looks crazy. And this is what this video brought me back to, is the beating he received. It was kind of like, it's 4-1. What's the threat here? Right? It's not like he's fighting back. No point in the video is the man fighting back. But you guys are, first of all, acting like you're scared. And I'm going to get to that point too, where it's like everyone's got a body cam and everyone wants to, I won't say everyone. Police officers started wearing more body cams after the George Floyd situation. So rest in peace, George Floyd. You know, due to the George Floyd situation where he was murdered on camera, the police departments across the U.S. started issuing that the police departments make sure that their police officers wear these body cams. So and a lot of it was for accountability, right? They want to make sure that these police officers are doing what they're supposed to do. You know, there's transparency with the videos, and you know, a lot of police officers, even with a body cam, they just do what the fuck they feel like doing, and some of it they start being the aggressor. They're doing shit out of procedure, and then while they're on camera, acting as if they're the ones in danger or they're threatened, because you can do that through, hey, your tone of voice, by changing your tone of voice, by certain commands you're saying, like, hey, stand back, but the person's on the floor. What the fuck is there to stand back on, right? There's certain things you can say verbally. Now, this is not against all police officers, because I have the utmost respect for the law, but there is a small percentage of police officers that are doing this. Just to be honest with you, they know it. I know it. Everybody fucking knows it. Clearly, this video shows it, right? And I've been seeing this trend of like them acting scared. While I'm not saying they're not scared, because it is a dangerous job, I also understand under certain circumstances, what is there to be scared of? If it's me and 4 other people, you're on the floor and I'm over you kicking your ass, there's nothing for me to be scared of. If anything, you control that situation at that time. And what I felt from seeing that video, there was a lot of control on their behalf, and he didn't have any control. He was getting beaten slowly. And, you know, I'm disappointed once again by the video. The disappointment really comes from a few things. You know, back in 2020, I remember I was doing my old podcast, and during that time period, you know, there was COVID and a whole bunch of crazy shit happened in the world, and then hit the situation with George Floyd being kneeled on his neck during, you know, an incident where the police showed up, and it resulted in him passing away. And, you know, black people, white people all across America unified to march on his behalf, march for the social injustice that been going on in the different communities. You know, I grew up in the hood. I grew up, you know, pretty much in an unfortunate situation as a younger child. When I got older, my parents got, you know, more finances together. They got settled and my life got better. But I would say as a young child, man, I grew up in the inner city. I grew up in the hood. Didn't have a lot of resources. There was a lot of injustice, okay? And because of that, like, there's always been a distrust between police and the community. It just is. The community comes in and they're looking at certain situations as crime and, and all this other stuff. They've got their initiatives. They're trying to take drugs off the street, and they come in and they'll treat that whole community like shit sometimes, not speaking on behalf of all police officers. But there is those small amounts, and that small amounts lead to large impact. Now, as I was saying about George Floyd, that happened. Blacks, Spanish, white, everybody got together. They marched city to city, protesting. Legislation being changed. Police officers and police units and associations changing how they go about policing. We're in a body cam situation to help rectify the situation, to prevent it from happening again. Now, in the case of George Floyd, there were nothing but Caucasian. I believe there may be another one. One of them was Asian. Who knows? I don't know. But I know none of them were black. Black people were enraged that these non-black officers were kneeling on the neck of George Floyd. He passed away. Rest in peace once again. And it could have been all avoidable. Everybody was out of procedure. Now the family was able to get some kind of retribution through the court system, but once again, he lost his life. They lost a family member, and you couldn't turn back. And as a result of that, the officers were all seen as guilty and served some time, different time depending on the officer. In this case, it's a little bit different in the case of Tyre Nichols. There are 5 officers, and all 5 officers, which are in Memphis, are black. That's the twist. They are black. And that's what really I say is the disappointing part, is that this is still happening, not only from police departments based on what we went through 2 years ago, 3 years ago with George Floyd, but now black? 5 black officers. So now, before with George Floyd, black people, this is just, this is what happens, and they try to make it racial, and it probably was. Who knows? I don't think so. I think at the end of the day, it was police being police, not knowing how to properly police certain communities, mispractices. Once again, I'm not speaking on behalf of all police officers, but I'm speaking on behalf of a certain percentage. And, in this case, it was a little disappointing because it was like 5 black officers. And I'm not going to lie. Just because you're black and a police officer doesn't mean that the hood don't trust you neither. Because sometimes police officers tend to look at everything. We're not black, we're not white, we're blue. That's fine. I understand riding for what you believe in and understanding that it's a brotherhood, sisterhood. But on the flip side of things is that the community is not looking at you that way. The community is not looking at the black police officer and say, well, the officer's black, so I could he may understand my situation. There's no trust there. And situations like this add to the distrust. It adds to that terribly. Another thing from an optics perspective, this is 5 black officers beating up another black man, led to his death 3 days later. And we're always sitting there as blacks as a collective in America, as I said, feeling that the system is against us. It's rigged, it's racist, it's all this other stuff. So it doesn't look good from an optics perspective when we as black people are doing the demise to each other. Let's just call it what we call it. So I get it. If I'm not black and I see something like this, I'm like, how unfortunate. But damn, they're doing that to their own self. And that's crazy. That's the twist. That's the plot to it, where it's kind of like, how can we want the respect from other cultures and races, let's put it that way, when we're not protecting our own? Sorry, I hit the mic. We're not protecting our own. We're not policing our own people properly, our own communities properly. How can we expect someone that's not of our culture to do the same? How can we hold them to that standard when we're not going to hold ourselves to that standard? And that's the disappointing part as well. I was in disbelief from what I saw. I thought that, at this stage in my life, I ain't gonna lie to you. When I saw Rodney King as a young age, I was like, okay, that left a lasting impression. I never forgot that. And I was a young kid, very young. George Floyd, Eric Gardner, both of those situations. I was a grown man and they both left lasting impressions on me. This one will leave a lasting impression on me. Tyre Nichols did not deserve what I saw. And what I saw now makes me kind of worry as a black man driving through my neighborhood, whether it's to go home to my kids, to my family, to my lady, and the police pull behind me down the street. Do I drive straight? Do I pull over? What do? Do I just fucking find the nearest police department? What do you do in this situation? Because if that's happening to him, it can for sure happen to me. And what are you going to do? You're going to fight back? That's an easy way to get shot. What are you going to do? Tell them stop? That's an easy way to get your ass beat. Clearly, that's what they're doing. So how do we as black men approach this situation? How does a black female approach this situation? We don't fucking know anymore. At one point, let's break our cameras out and make sure we record what's happening. That was like our alternative. They don't give a shit if you got a camera anymore. They'll smack that shit out your hand and still do what they got to do. I don't know. I'm out of answers. I don't know if I were to get pulled over tomorrow, what would I do? I know for sure, like, I'm a pretty straightforward person. I don't think I bite my tongue. It's probably got me in trouble because of the fact that I'm so transparent and I'm upfront. So I don't know if I have the control to not tell an officer, you touch me and I survive this shit, I'm suing every motherfucking one of y'all. And me saying that the outcome may be I may not survive this shit. I also don't know if I have the self-control to if that they're ganging up on me to not just fight back. Because one thing for sure with me is I grew up in a culture, and most of us grew up in a culture where we were taught to fight back. It's survival mode. So what? What, I'm supposed to fight back and then give more reason to whoop my ass, right? Or do I stand there like Tyre did not fight back? He didn't talk back. He was essentially, I don't want to use the word complying, but he wasn't acting up, and they went 100% on his ass. And that's the dilemma. Even when you try to comply and be calm, is your life still in danger? And that's a concern for us as individuals, as black individuals in America. I'm not even African American. I'm Jamaican. But one thing in America, I'm black. And that's what we got to deal with. It's fucking crazy. It's unnecessary. I'm disgusted by the behavior. I'm disgusted by what I saw. I know police procedure. And that ain't it. I don't understand what the fuck that was. I almost felt like, did they know him? Did he do something to them? Did they have some I don't know. What was going on? Because that video felt a little bit too much, too personal. Like, I didn't understand it. I'm still trying to wrap my brain. I almost feel like, is there more story that we don't know? Because what I saw, based on him being pulled over and not stopping, like that didn't fucking make no sense. That didn't justify the behavior. That's crazy. It's disgusting. No one should ever go see that shit. Nobody should live through that. So I obviously, like, man, a man, he's 29 years old, lost his life. His mama got up there and said, look, generally most people say, not my son, he's not like that, but she said, he's really a good kid. And for all accounts, what we're hearing, he is pretty much a good kid already. He's like a little photographer on the side and all this other stuff. And like, he's even getting this treatment, which is nuts. You know, this police unit, from what I hear, is part of or these individuals, these members, are allegedly or reportedly, according to sources, a part of a street unit called Scorpion, which Scorpion stands for Street Crimes Operations to Restore Peace in Our Neighborhoods. Let me repeat. Scorpion stands for Street Crimes Operations to Restore Peace in Our Neighborhoods. Everything I saw in that video was the opposite of Scorpion. Well, we saw street crimes, and the only street crimes I saw was those cops acting like street individuals, committing a crime. Operations. What I did see was a lapse of operational procedures. There was no operation. Well, the only operation going on there was illegal. It was brutal. Restore peace in the neighborhoods. Restore what? What peace? You're not restoring any peace in the neighborhood with that type of brutality, abuse. What peace are you restoring? If anything, you just invigorated the neighborhood now. People are marching now. People are back to that shit. They back on their bullshit. What I do hope is that they march as strong as they did with George Floyd, because I know they march heavily. It was racially fueled. I hope they keep that same energy for this one, because this may not be racially fueled, but fuck it. It's the same shit. It's the same injustice. Whether it's black on black, it's like, yo, this type of policing can't be happening, man. These cops got to understand, like, I understand y'all lives could be in danger and it's a stressful job and all that, but give me a fucking break. My job's stressful too. Fuck, I don't give a shit. I'm still not walking around treating people like shit. I'm still not walking around beating people's ass. I'm still not walking around commanding people to do this and do that. At some point, you gotta understand, like, my job is to protect and serve. Some cops get it, but a lot of you cops still don't. And that's the fucking problem. As I said, I got most respect for all police officers. But you got to understand, when you sign up for that job, man, you sign up with whatever comes with that shit. No matter whatever job you do. If you don't like what comes with it, then it's your time to check out and go. But don't take that shit out on the streets. That, like, you're there to clean the streets up. You're there to restore peace in the neighborhood. What you did is created some discourse in the neighborhood. You 5 people. Now, I don't know much about the Memphis Police Department, so I don't have that much comment to say about them. But I do have just as these 5 people. I hope that justice is served. You know, that if they did it, which we saw, it's handled appropriately. Keep that same energy. Now, that my only concern now is with them being 5 black people, if the Minneapolis officers got 20 plus years or whatever it may be, oh, y'all going away longer, man. Because you're going to understand, when the system gets you, you no longer a police officer, my friends. Or you ain't my friend. What you are now in the court system is you a black dude. That's what you become. You're now black. And you're going to be treated accordingly. And your black people that generally may have some sympathy for you, we ain't got no sympathy for you, my guys. Not for y'all. We don't got no sympathy for what we saw. So now y'all gonna have to eat that heavy crime. Man, I don't know how y'all gonna get off. Because what I saw was crazy. But they're part of Scorpion. This was reminiscent of, I remember hearing about the crash unit during the Rampart investigation in LA. This is like back in the 90s. Crash unit, street gangs type special unit within the police department in LA ended up terrorizing the community. They ended up robbing all the gangsters and the drug dealers. They became the gangsters and the drug dealers. Police. This brings me back to the gun trace force in Baltimore. The HBO series, if you're not familiar with this, go watch out HBO's We Own the City. It's a mini series, and it will detail what happened. And I'm telling you, man, they was out there. They were a specialized unit. They were there to crack down on gun cases with different gangs in the neighborhood. And guess what? Who became the criminals? They was robbing the people. They was setting them up. They became the criminals, brutalizing people. You know, there's another show, The 7-5. It's a documentary. I believe it's on YouTube at this point. And it talks about the 75th precinct in New York, 7-5 precinct. And it shows just the corruption that went over there. They were all robbing the drug dealers, taking advantage of the community, going in and running up in people's houses, taking their money, living life, can't tell them shit, living like rogue warriors. And I'm pretty sure there's a bunch of different other units across the U.S. right now in different police departments, specialized units, acting without authority, doing what the fuck they want unanswered. The only difference is they ain't been caught on camera. They didn't get caught slipping. The community's kind of scared to speak against them in fear of retaliation. And that's the fucked up part. So, listen, we got to do better. Scorpion is not it. I don't know how many other people are in Scorpion. I'm sure it's a bigger unit, but if they're going to continue the Scorpion unit, clean it up, man. Learn from this and understand, like, if those people are not a representative of what the unit stands for, y'all got to come out and talk about it, or y'all got to step the shit up in the community, because that ain't it. I mean, if I live in a community, yeah, I want to restore peace in my community. Yeah, I don't want certain crimes in my community, especially if I work hard to get out of the hood and I'm in an area where I don't really have that much crime. I don't want crime in this motherfucker. I moved out the hood for that. But at the flip side of it, if it comes at the expense of me worrying about coming home, driving down the street and getting my ass beat to a pulp because you assuming that I'm a part of the crime because I'm black, I got a fucking problem with that. And trust me, just because the police black don't mean that there's favoritism. This shit has to just fucking chill out. I don't know how it's going to chill out. It seems like sometimes it may be getting out of hand. I hate when I go down the rabbit hole on YouTube and watch in the police videos. It's just showing me shit. I'm like, God damn. Make me not want to leave my house. I should just get a remote job. Because if I got to go drive to work in the neighborhood where I got to get paid, or my parents moved on up. I'm a hard worker. My parents moved on up. They work hard too. They living in the neighborhood where there's not many of us black people. And I got to go drive, see them. I don't want to have to drive and see the police and worry about if I'm going to get pulled over because I look different. Or because they're assuming, well, there's a black dude in this neighborhood. Well, we're street crimes and we're here to restore peace in the neighborhood. So we're pulling his ass over to find out whether or not he's here for peace or not. Nobody wants to live like that, man. So we got to get it together. I hope that as I said, man, my heart really goes out to his family, his mother, his stepfather. They're the ones that have to live with this right now. Directly. Their loss. So I just hope that the justice system does them right. I hope that the police department in Memphis does them right. I hope that people Whether you're black, white, Spanish, Asian, if you feel like this is injustice, you stand up and you march just like you did before and continue to push the agenda to get these whack ass police officers that don't mean good for us out of the fucking get them out of our community, man. Don't put them anywhere else. Lock them the fuck up, kick them off the force. Y'all got to start doing audit checks on these police officers and their behaviors. While I understand looking out for your boys in blue and your brotherhood, I get all that shit. Trust me. But at the flip side, like I don't. If I was a cop and I got a dirty cop as a partner, like dogs, we got two ways we're gonna do this. You either gonna cut that shit out, or you gonna turn it in. Because at one point I'm gonna have a problem with you, and if I got a problem with you, then it's either gonna be me versus the police department. I don't know how this is gonna go down, but I'm just not the type of nigga to stand around and watch a nigga do foul shit. I don't care what we doing. If we in the business together and you want to go do some foul shit, I'm still going to say, yo, dog, you can't do that. I don't give a fuck what time it is. So it's either you going to pack it up and move out, or me, I'm going to pack you up. Or you going to have to pack me. I don't know how it's going to work, but I'm not going to sit there and watch you do foul shit, because now I'm going to feel like I'm a foul ass dude. So if y'all police officers really care about what's going on, why don't y'all hold each other accountable for what game it is? You know what I'm saying? That's what it is. Hold each other accountable. That's all we ask. Other than that, man, once again, rest in peace, Tyre Nichols. My condolences to his family. Y'all be safe out there. It's Wall Street Dame. I'm out.